WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Comment. Today, we're sharing a feature from WBUR's climate and environment correspondent, Barbara Moran. It's about the seafood industry here in New England, which generates more than $20 billion in sales each year and employs more than 250,000 people. The industry is a big part of our culture here in the region, but Barb found that it's not moving fast enough to meet the challenges of climate change. And the new Trump presidency could make things more complicated. This story was produced as part of the Pulitzer Center's Story Reach U.S. Fellowship. Here's Barb with more.
The deck of the fishing boat Paladin is flopping with flounder. The boat's about 20 miles off the coast of Nantucket. Fisherman Bill Amaru casts a line off the side, reels in a fish, and shows it off, along with some self-deprecating dad humor.
Yeah, that's a nice fish.
Yeah? How big is that?
I'd say it'll just be a borderline large, probably about 2 pounds. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut now and then.
Amaru has worked as a commercial fisherman for more than 50 years. And he sees the ocean changing. The water is several degrees warmer than when he started out, so it's more welcoming to warm water fish.
Nothing is weird anymore out here. Tropical is getting to be fairly common, but I think what we're losing is way, way in excess of what we're gaining.
What scientists say New England is losing are iconic species like cod and lobster. They've shifted north or moved to deeper parts of the ocean in search of colder water.
What surprised me the most was the magnitude of the changes.
John Hare is the director of the Northeast Fisheries Science Center. He says higher temperatures are not the only change in New England waters.
As carbon dioxide increases in the atmosphere, then it dissolves into the ocean, and that makes the ocean more acidic. There's also changes in ocean circulation, which are becoming more pronounced as climate change continues.
Most of these changes are harming New England fisheries. Habitats are changing, invasive pests are arriving, and many valuable fish species are in decline. The impact on fishermen can be devastating.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our final day of the September New England Fishery Management Council meeting.
Complex rules govern the fishing industry. A system of catch limits and quotas determines when, where, and how much people can fish. The regulations are often contentious.
First thing on our agenda today is our herring committee report.
Last fall, New England fishermen gathered at a hotel ballroom in Gloucester to learn how much herring they'd be allowed to catch for the next 2 years. Data collected by government scientists shows the number of herring decreasing. So regulators proposed reducing the catch by 89%.
You crazy? That's decimation on the whole herring fleet.
Herring fisherman Daniel Phil told the committee his proposal would jeopardize the industry. And he says the numbers are wrong. He says he sees plenty of herring in the water.
You know, you might be scientists and the smartest people in the world, but you get out on the water, you're going to be the dumbest ones out there.
Later, I spoke with Mary Beth Tooley, who works for a fishing company in Maine. Her bosses are planning to mothball their 2 herring boats this year.
They will tie those vessels up for 2025. The amount of fish that's allocated is not enough to, quite frankly, pay your insurance to get away from the dock.
Tooley has lots of concerns about the industry. She worries about how wind farms could affect fish in fishing grounds. And she shares some concerns about regulators' data. But she says the biggest risk for commercial fishing in New England is climate change. And it's happening so quickly that fishermen, scientists, and regulators can't keep up.
The pace of change, right, has been much faster than people had anticipated. And the pace of regulatory change is not fast.
In other words, the fish are moving, but many regulations are stuck. Take black sea bass. It's a fish people want to eat, and it's expanding into New England waters. But it's not historically a New England fish. So most of the quotas and permits to catch black sea bass are still trapped further south, reserved for fishermen in the mid-Atlantic.
What that means for us, and not having any management authority over it, is that we don't have opportunities to harvest it.
Kate O'Keefe is the executive director of the New England Fishery Management Council. She says fishermen need more tools to adapt to climate change. Things like more flexible permits, more complete science, and the ability to land the new fish that are coming in.
It's a very high priority for us right now, as we see some of our traditional stocks declining or shifting north to Canada. We want to be able to take opportunities of stocks that are shifting into our waters.
The Biden administration invested hundreds of millions of dollars through the Inflation Reduction Act to help fisheries meet the challenges of climate change. It's unclear how these initiatives will fare under President-elect Donald Trump. Trump has promised to pull back such funding, and he's called global warming a scam. O'Keefe says she's hoping to work with the incoming administration. She says the impacts of climate change are too important to ignore, and time is running out.
My biggest worry is losing the industry. We can't wait a decade because there won't be New England fishing industries left anymore.
That would be a blow to the region. New England's fisheries generate more than $20 billion in sales each year and employ more than 250,000 people, like Bill Amaru. When his boat gets back to the dock, Amaru and his crew load coolers of fish into the bed of a pickup truck, then take them to be weighed.
That adds up to, 170 pounds.
Okay. And is that good?
That's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. How would we put it that way? No, it was okay. It was an all right trip.
All joking aside, for Amaru, the stakes are personal. His son and grandson are both full-time commercial fishermen. Amaru worries about their future.
The more that we disrupt the climate, the more that these things are happening, and it's making it very difficult to make a living on the traditional stocks. The fish just are not here anymore like they were back then.
The question is whether the industry can adapt to the new fish coming in. Amaru is betting that it can. He just invested in a rare permit and a new set of traps designed to catch black sea bass. For 90.9 WBUR, I'm Barbara Moran.
And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Common, which is produced by Franny Monahan. It's mixed by Marquise Neal, and it's edited by Yasmin Ammer. And our theme music is Me from Hisu. And from the newsroom of WBUR, I'm your host, Daryl C. Murphy. I'll talk to you next week.